The Earning Freedom Journal is a project that can work for anybody who is going into the prison system or anybody who has a family member that is serving time in prison. If you want to motivate and inspire that person, I really encourage you to take a look at our journals. The journals are something that got me through the journey, and the reason that they got me through the journey is they always had me focusing on what I wanted to aspire, what I wanted to become when I got out of prison. And I learned this technique very early on in the journey. It's a lesson that I learned from leaders. It's a lesson that I try to teach to as many people as possible. Because if any of us are serious about wanting to change the circumstances of our life, we have got to do more than just talk about wanting to change. We need to identify very specific goals that we can achieve along the way. Every day, we must work toward the clearly defined goals that we set, knowing that those goals will open new opportunities. And that's what this video is about today. If you were to be working along through the journal, you would see that we speak a lot about SMART goals. Now, the idea of a SMART goal makes a great deal of sense. You see, SMART is an acronym that tells us that when we are setting goals, we should be very specific. And with our goals, we should be able to measure our progress toward what we're striving to achieve. If we use the technique appropriately, we should be able to take action steps toward the goal regularly. And the goals should also be realistic. And finally, the SMART goals are time-bound. You see, you've got specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound. That's SMART. When I learned about the good time credits, I understood that I could satisfy the 45-year sentence in 26 years, but I didn't know how to comprehend 26 years, and that's why setting goals were so important to me. You see, with limited life experiences, I didn't know how to project so far into the future. At the time of my arrest, I'd only been alive for 23 years. And now, to put this time frame into perspective, you got to project 26 years from now. If a person went into the system today and that person had to remain in confinement for 26 years, that person would not get out until the year 2046 or 2047, a very long time from now. Yet even with that challenge, I learned that by setting goals, I could empower myself to feel motivated and disciplined and filled with energy, even as I was climbing through this journey inside of the penitentiary. Now, setting SMART goals can help any person that wants to make incremental progress in his life. You see, with each bit of progress, that person could work toward opening new opportunities, leveraging the little successes of yesterday to open new projects tomorrow. And as long as these opportunities aligned with how that person defines success, the person would start to restore confidence. Now, to work the strategy that I'd set, I needed to set SMART goals within a very tight time frame. So I chose to focus on the first 10 years of my sentence. Although 26 years seemed incomprehensible, I could identify with 10 years. You see, and so during those first 10 years, I set very specific goals that aligned with the strategy that I documented. And those of you who have been following along know that the way that I was defining success in prison was to be able to emerge from that experience unscathed, ready to function in society and have nobody be prejudiced against me or dismiss me because of the bad decisions I made when I was so young. So if you're facing a challenge, that's the same strategy I would suggest that you embrace. Think about how setting SMART goals can help you work toward new opportunities. And so within the first 10 years of my imprisonment, I set some goals like earning a university degree. Within the first 10 years of my imprisonment, I intended to contribute to society by becoming a published author. That was goal number 2. And goal number 3 was that within the first 10 years of my imprisonment, I intended to contribute to society by bringing 10 people into my support network. You see, if I could persuade 10 people that I didn't know and 10 people that didn't know me to come into my life, that would really open new opportunities because I would be able to contribute to their lives. They would open opportunities to introduce me to their networks. And I really believe that this would be a pathway I could use to really transcend the penitentiary. And that discipline pathway could carry me through the first decade of my imprisonment. And I believed that if I could succeed in achieving those 3 goals of getting a university degree, of becoming a published author, and of bringing 10 more people into my life, I truly believe that I would be in a better position to leverage my way into new opportunities in the future, whether I remained in prison or not. Now, since I knew what I wanted to achieve during the first decade, I could assess the progress as the weeks turned into months, the months turned into years, and those years turned into the first decade. Every day I could evaluate whether I was advancing toward the goals that I set or whether I was off track in some kind of way, in which case I would simply have to make an adjustment. Now, if the complications of imprisonment got in the way, I could always pivot. I could always find something else to do. And there are many examples through the journey that shows how I did pivot. And I'm going to be explaining that through these daily journal entries. So as you work through the challenges of your life, think about the goals that you are setting. Use all of your critical thinking skills and all of your Socratic questioning abilities to advance progress towards the success as you've defined it. And that's what leads us now into this critical thinking section of our daily journal. So I'll ask some questions that I would like you to consider in your own life. But as I always do, I never ask anybody to do anything that I'm not doing. I'm going to go ahead and respond to those questions. So the first question that I'd like you to be thinking about is, what specific goals did you work toward during the past week? So you should be able to answer that with clarity if you are on this pathway of using the SMART goal technique. I can tell you the goals that I am working toward, but you can also see them just by reviewing my YouTube channel. You can see that I'm publishing new videos every single day. What you can't see is the work that I do behind the scenes. So other goals that I worked toward this week included publishing the first journal, which is now available on Amazon. It included writing all of the copy for the new website at Prison Professors, which is going to be live pretty soon. I'm super excited about it and really enthusiastic about sharing that strategy with you. But I also have finished quite a bit of client services work where I do ghostwriting for other people. And I finished 2 books this week. So it's been a very productive week. We also launched our my new project at cbdtv.com. And of course, you can see those videos and links to those videos all in the show notes before. So you see, everything that I am doing is very specific because it's all leading toward the success that as I define it. I don't know how you define success, but I would encourage you to use this technique of setting SMART goals, always documenting what you're doing and how it relates to your strategy and measuring your progress every single day. Let's go to our second open-ended question that I would be encouraging the people who are going through this course in prison to be considering. In what ways do these goals relate to the idea that you have defined as being successful? So, all of the work that I am doing relates to building a better community with prison professors, of trying to reach into more penitentiaries and influence the lives of more people. In fact, this past week, I had conferences with the Director of Rehabilitation for the California Department of Corrections and the technology team there. I had a conference with the group at a private prison company about introducing this program to private prisons across America. And I've got an appointment scheduled with a different private prison company on Tuesday of this coming week. So all of this work that I'm doing is to establish a track record, to establish a really well-documented story of the way that I can contribute to people inside of a jail or a prison. So here's question number 3. How would you assess your progress toward achieving the goals that you say are important in your life? So I can't answer that for you, but I can definitely answer it for me. In fact, early this morning, I started my work at 4 o'clock in the morning, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I told my wife, I said, wow, I had a really productive day. Not only did I get 2 manuscripts formatted, 1 published on Amazon, I also got a very long work session in with my web development team. So making a lot of progress, and I hope that you are living an intentional life and making progress towards the goals that you say are important. So the next question in my series on open-ended questions are, what specific goals did you work toward last week? So that's a separate week from this week. I want you to think about the week before. Are you always on this path? And then ask another question. In what ways will the goals that you're setting lead to new opportunities? And another question. How will the people that you intend to influence in your future respond to the disciplined goal-setting strategy that you have engineered? All of these questions, these are the types of questions that help me maintain a high level of energy and discipline while I was climbing through 26 years in prison. And I am absolutely confident that they can help you as well. So if you haven't done so already, I do hope that you will subscribe to the Prison Professors channel. If you want to support our sponsors, please visit cbdtv.com and you will find all types of the CBD products. That is a specific business that I launched to help generate resources for the Prison Professors program. One thing I always say is I never ask anybody to do something that I don't do. And I try to document the story of how I start businesses, how those businesses generate revenues, and how I use those revenues to try to teach and inspire more people. And I hope that you will be a part of the mission by visiting cbdtv.com. I hope that you will subscribe to Prison Professors. Leave a note down below if I can make a video that will help you. You'll see that I respond to everybody that I can get time to break away from. But really want to thank you for being a part of our community. I am Michael Santos with Prison Professors, thanking you for being with us today.